Now being recorded.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Anyone else who joins can just, hop on at that time, but I don't want to, keep anyone waiting for those of you who were able to get on at noon. Thank you very much for joining. I know you guys are all super busy, but we really appreciate you making the time for these calls. I do have a couple of things to talk about before we jump into, our ground game webinar on parketing. Two things: you should have received this morning a readiness survey. We did send it out to everyone in the RAMP team. So what that is, it's just a survey that asks, if you need any additional support on agronomy, SA5, anything involving RAMP or marketing materials, any kind of feedback on as to whether you have everything you need, for your upcoming season and to get going with your business. So any feedback you could provide on that, that would be great. And we'll certainly get back to, I know some people responded already, so I'll take a look at those responses and kind of, if there's any issues or concerns, I will get back to you on that as soon as I can. Does anyone have any questions regarding that readiness survey, or I hope everybody on here did receive the email? Okay, so that was that one. The next thing you also did receive today was an email regarding a ground game dashboard. So this was a very lengthy, kind of email that went out today. It's going to be emailed out once a week. It does serve as an overview of basically of your ground game performance and shows how you are performing on each of the individual tactics. So I received this email kind of the same time you did. I took a quick peek at it and I did notice that some of the data was incorrect. So anything inaccurate or missing, I'll certainly have them fix it for next time. But for now, I just want you guys to kind of familiarize yourself with the format, take a look at it for concept value, and then for next time, we'll definitely flesh out the data to make sure it's accurate. But really the point and the goal of it is it just pulls your performance data across all 10 of your ground game tactics and kind of shows how you rank amongst your peers. And that data, just so you guys know, is being pulled based on your entries of that weekly tracking sheet. So if you don't get around to entering that weekly tracking sheet that goes out, the data won't reflect that in the dashboard. So your data is going to be incorrect if you aren't able to get in there and fill out those responses. So just make sure, each Thursday you're looking out for that report and you're getting it in time and you're filling out the answers. I'm not sure if anyone had a chance to look at that email, but just so you know, the way it's formatted is at the very top, it'll show your overall performance score. This is based on all 10 tactics, and it is weighted so that the most important tactics hold more points than others. It does list up there, which tactics are more important. I think reviews hold about 30% of the score, but you'll see there, just kind of take a look at it. Underneath the overall score is the individual tactics and how you're performing. So eventually, instead of these slides up here, I'll be able to just kind of open that and just pull up the card there, that chart that's showing how you're doing with each tactic. And then just so you know, don't click on it, because if you click on it, you'll pull up to a separate website, but you don't have access yet to that. It'll ask you to fill out a username and password, which we don't have those credentials for you yet. So just don't get alarmed if you click it and it doesn't allow you to go anywhere. You're just supposed to be looking at this point at the email. Does anyone have any questions regarding, what was sent out this morning regarding that? Okay. I will jump then to parketing. So this is week 5. We'll talk about parketing today. Let me just pull to the next slide. So your goals for this week, up until this week, 8 hours and you're in the green, 7 to 6 hours, you're kind of in the yellow. And if you're doing it 5 hours or less, you would be in the red. So does anybody want to just kind of take the floor here? My voice is a little scratchy. Anyone want to take the floor on who can explain what parketing is, or, what you've learned about parketing, and see any benefits in it, or have you drove through your territory and kind of isolated those best places to park? Does anybody want to just kind of take the floor here and talk a little bit about it?
Well, I'll take the floor, but I also have a comment about this, because to me it seems silly to be parking my van out when there's snowdrifts I'm in the deep freeze right now. But anyway, parketing is just simply put, it's to get your name out there and get exposed. And I did this last fall when I got my van up and going, and I actually then later on did a trade show and got a comment from one of the passerbys that I seen your van sitting by Applebee's, which is where I park on Main Street in the Heights. Anyway, so it does work. As far as putting the cards on the door, I don't think anybody's ever gotten a card from me, but it's just a way to get brand recognition out there.
Yep, exactly. And sorry, go ahead. Whoever was just about to speak up.
No, it was saying. I was just going to say, as far as when there's snow drifts, yeah, I certainly don't go out and drive it if it's dangerous driving conditions. It's not exactly an all-wheel drive, vehicle. It's certainly still is a van, but if it's safe to drive it, no harm, no foul in parking it out there, because it's for exactly the reasons you just stated, right? It's still going to be something that people are going to see or notice, but certainly we'll always defer to safety first.
So a couple of comments I've got is the phone number on the van is 1-800. Nobody wants to call a 1-800 number. So if my real phone number was on the van, it would probably help. At least that's the comments I'm getting.
Yeah, and that's there's some validity to that, right? I mean, let's just call it what it is. But there are two options. One, not necessarily something I'd highly recommend. You could always have a, sort of a magnet made or something that goes over it. But the reality is, more so than the, calling the number, it's just you're getting, or you're buying, a quick second of mind share. It's just plugging that name into their heads for when that time comes, when they are looking or calling. But yeah, and there's certainly a bit of validity to that statement. Can't deny it.
Yeah, and in regards to, it's obviously in the northern areas extremely cold here, and nobody at this time is thinking about, hiring a lawn care provider. But however, the reason why we put parketing this early on in the season is that you're going to build those customer impressions now early on, so that when the season, does pick up, the weather starts turning nice, you don't have to kind of rush to get in front of the customer. You've kind of already got in their memory. They've seen your vehicle around town, and, you're the first company that they think of when it, turns into spring and they want to start working on their lawn. So parketing is something very easy you can do now. Think about any of those busy shopping centers this weekend where everyone's rushing to get their last minute Christmas gifts. Just kind of park the van there, and you could just leave it. It kind of does the work for itself. So I definitely understand no one's thinking exactly about getting lawn care while it's snowing out, but they're certainly seeing your logo, seeing that green thumb, remembering the name, so that later on, when it is spring and they see an ad or something, they say, hey, I know Lawn Doctor. They seem like a very valid company. Let me do some more research into them. So I certainly get the concern that nobody's thinking about it now, but it's really about building those memories for the customer.
Yeah. Hey, Gabrielle, this is Harry. For me, it's been fairly easy because here in Texas, we're still, it's nice and pretty. Sometimes the temperature is in the 50s or 60s. So basically what I do is, like you said, I just target the major intersection where everybody's doing their shopping, and I'll get out and take my van up there first thing in the morning, say about 7 o'clock, park it somewhere. And what I do is I load my bike up inside of it after I take the turf tamer out, and I ride my bike back to my house, and I go back and pick it up close to dark. And so that's how I accomplish. I just get 8 to 10 hours a day by doing it that way. I don't have to worry about nobody picking me up or whatever. So.
That's a great idea, because that kind of alleviates the stress of, how am I going to get to and from? So if you live close by, the bike ride is nice, and especially with the weather, it's nice.
You going to do that, Travis?
Probably not. It's a little
Yeah,
bit
he-
longer.
If you do, I want video.
Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about, what we were talking about earlier, about what you're doing with your park and waves, just to get a little creative in the holiday spirit?
Yeah, sure. Basically, as I explained to Gabriella, I invested in a Santa suit, and so I've been parking it on major roadways to and from neighborhoods where there's a lot of vehicular traffic, and standing out, waving at traffic going by. It's been a kind of a real positive experience in the community. It's not my cup of tea being out there doing park and wave, but it makes it a whole lot easier when you're in a Santa suit because everybody seems to love it. I bet you about 70 to 80% of the traffic that drives by while I'm doing it is either honking or giving me a thumbs up. So it's been very positive. If 25% of the people that's honking, waving, turn into customers, I'd be overwhelmed probably. But it's waving and honking is one thing. Whether or not they turn into customers is a different beast. But I can only hope that that's being effective. But it's definitely getting my name brand out there because like people are seeing or giving me a thumbs up. So they're seeing the thumb, and hopefully, when my other ground game starts and it becomes a drip, they're seeing this now and then seeing the other stuff, in January. There'll be another, hey, lawn doctors, in my area, let me look them up. So, but it's been very overwhelming as far as this positive response. I've had, kids and the family stop. Of course, I've been doing it in front of the van. So in the background, in 20 years, they're going to be seeing a Christmas picture with lawn doctor in the background. Like, what is lawn doctor? Or hopefully they'll know what it is. It's very prominent in their neighborhood. But I'll be in some memories down the road. So it's been a pretty positive experience.
Yeah, I thought that was such a great idea. And to dress up the van with the Christmas lights, it just makes it even more memorable, of people passing by, makes it a little more fun. And also gives you a really good, positive brand image. If they see you're out there, doing something for Christmas, the holidays, it just kind of puts a little more, positive spin on your brand and then you as well as the owner. Does anyone else think they want to do that? Dress up the van, put some lights on it. You could even just, if you don't want to do a park and wave, put some Christmas lights on your van and kind of just drive it around the neighborhood. Instead of the fire truck that comes around with Santa to see the kids, it could now be lawn doctor that comes around and sees the kids. Okay, great. Does anybody have any further questions regarding parketing or anything else they want to kind of just throw on the table? No? Okay. I would like to now just open it up to any other questions regarding, ground game. It doesn't have to be on parketing, but if anybody had any questions, I know everybody should have received. We send a folder of creative marketing flyers. There is a Christmas one in there, kind of as like a holiday gift for 2020. Not sure if anybody is interested in printing those out and kind of just going around and passing those out. Those might be a good idea to get some people thinking about gifts for, a maintainer program for their, significant other or something for the next year. Just something to think about.
Hey, Gabriella, do we have any update on the door hangers, what the estimated ship date is or whatnot?
Yeah, so the door hangers have been sent to the printer, and then it should take about, from now, like two weeks. So I am hoping that first week of January, the January 6th, I would have tracking information for you.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay, if nobody has any further questions, I will jump to the next slide. Just so everyone knows, the next webinar, it won't be next week because we're taking off here for the holidays, but the next one will be January 3rd. And the tactic is we're going to circle back to Google reviews. So the goal would be 10 Google reviews by January 3rd. If everyone could just kind of work really hard to get that, that would be great. And then just a reminder here, to date, we've now added onto our weekly marketing responsibilities. They're right there listed for you. It's 1 Google review per week, 1 one-on-one meeting with a BNI member, another one with a Chamber of Commerce member, and then 8 hours of parketing. So right now, it's just those 4 tactics. The 8 hours of parketing should be really easy for you guys to execute. You know, you just kind of have to leave the vehicle somewhere, especially those of you that are not servicing right now. That one should be super easy. And then, you know, it is come to my attention that some BNIs and Chamber of Commerce might be shut down for the holidays. So I will definitely take that into consideration, you know, as it applies to getting those one-on-one meetings. But does anyone have any questions regarding Google reviews or, you know, those weekly responsibilities? Okay, and then just a suggestion, as far as getting reviews, you know, I'm sure everyone's going to a lot of holiday parties, you know, a Christmas dinner or something like that. Do not be afraid to ask your friends and family right then and there, you know, over dinner or something, for them to kindly leave you a Google review. All right, if no one has any further questions, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I know everyone's super busy and excited to kind of just take a break for the holidays. I'll let everybody jump off. Thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the feedback as well. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday and enjoys their time off.
All right, Merry Christmas to y'all.
All right, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.